Hello, this is Ted with Oaxray, and today we're going to go over how you can use a repricer to reprice your books and other items on Amazon.com. So whenever I started selling online, the first repricer that I liked was actually repricers.com. Works awesome for books, and I just want to go over some basic settings and how I used it to actually make some money. So let's first create a few templates, and we just go to create new template. And I like to create my template based on the books that I sent in from how old the items were. So we can create a name called 1 to 7. And this is what's going to happen in the first 1 to 7 days after the listing is created. And I can choose my dates, and I can go 0 to 7 days. Now this will be all my ranks, and I can actually do this to good, like new, and other prices. I'm going to do FBA only, and that is generally what you can do, but you can also do merchant fulfilled or one of the other ones and hit add and update template. And from here we can view the repricing. And again, this is just what I am doing, so you might have different strategy than I have right here, but I'm going to show you how I can do it. So here's what I like to do initially. I'm going to compare my used price against other used offerings, and I'm going to compare my new items only against other new offerings. And that's going to just make sure that we're comparing apples to apples whenever we're making our comparison. I'm going to exclude acceptable, especially at the beginning on this template, and just launch, I'm going to exclude those, and any seller ratings below 90%. I like those settings, so I'm just going to leave those as they are for default. You want to make sure you always set a minimum allowable price. Make sure that you never go below break even on your book. So let's pretend that break even is $6, which it's going to be here shortly with the new fee changes. So make sure you set a minimum price that is, no matter what, you never want to be priced below this. So make sure you have a minimum. If you've ever seen someone selling an item for a penny with $0 in shipping, that is because they put no minimum price. So make sure you do this every single time to whatever SKU you're using or whatever schema you're using. I don't need a maximum, I'm not going to put that. And maximum number of competing offers, I'll just leave that as default. Reprice new items, I'll just leave all these to default actually. So these are kind of controls right here which say if the price of an item goes down more than this percent, then do not reprice. This is a way to allow you to not reprice just in case someone is just trying to tank the item. So one strategy that I've seen some people use is they'll find out that someone has a repricer. They'll drop their price. Let's say it's a $50 book. They'll drop their price to $4. The repricer is going to drop that price to $4, and then they buy out that seller of all their books. And I've seen this happen before. So you might put something like 50% here. If the price goes down by 50% all at once, then don't just increase my price or decrease my price that much when that situation happens. Okay, so this is what I like to do my first week. So 0 to 7 days, I will set my condition or better, and I'll leave these couple settings right here blank. I don't care what Amazon has this item adjusted for. And here's a few things I'm going to change right here. So how do you want to price your items below or above the offer you are competing against? I will generally meet the person the first week of the lowest FBA offer. Now, here you have the ability to compare against both FBA and non-FBA offers, but my first week, I want to make sure I am competing against only FBA offers. This generally is going to give me a higher selling price, and this makes sure that in the first few weeks, I get the highest maximum price that I can get for the item, and I don't have to worry about selling at a low price. I'm going to keep my price high as possible, and I'm just going to break even and sell whatever the lowest FBA price is also selling for of the same condition. And here, if I want to actually upload this, I can click one of these and hit save settings. I'll just hit save settings here, and then we go back to the main page. Now I'm going to create a new repricer, reprice settings. So I've created from 1 to 7 days, so let me go and create another template. So in this template, I'm going to do 7 to 14 days. So essentially select the same settings, so I'm going to go through this a little quicker, but this time I'm going to do 7 to 14. I don't care what the sales rank or the price is. and these are for my used books. I'm going to hit add. Then again, I'm going to view and edit repricing. A lot of these things I'm going to leave the same exact settings as I did earlier, so I'm going to kind of skip and I'm going to come towards the bottom, and these are the changes that I'm going to make. So I like to make these changes all the way the same as I did earlier until we get down to here. I'm going to reprice in the same condition or better this time, same thing, but this time I want to compare to your FBA items against both FBA and non-FBA competing offers. So I'm going to select this, and generally this is going to lower my price, but it's going to lower it to the price of an item that's either FBA or merchant fulfilled. The reason I like to do this week one is because often that prime offer is above, it's pretty high generally above the other offer, and if it doesn't sell in the first 7 days, maybe in the next 7 days I can get a sale because I'm matching the lowest FBA or the lowest non-FBA offer. So that's really the only two changes from this setting to the next one. Is I still want to do same condition or better, and I want to do both FBA and non-FBA offers. And I can hit save, I can change these as I like, and I can actually keep everything else the same as it was before. After setting that, I go back to my main dashboard. So here I am, and I'm going to create a new template, and this template is going to be a little bit longer term, and this is going to be called 14 to 30 days. Again, I'm going to do FBA only. My date range will be 14 to 30 days. And I can select my condition. Again, I use this for books only. And I'm going to do view and edit reprice right there. Again, I'm going to leave most of the settings the same, so make sure you change these and you put in a minimum and you do everything that we did the first time we did this, but I'm going to scroll down just to show you the changes that I'm going to make. Now, once we get to the 14 to 30 day mark, this is whenever I start making some price concessions, and I actually start lowering my price a little bit if the item hasn't sold in the first 2 weeks. So I like to reprice my inventory at lowest possible completing price instead of buy the same condition or better. So before I was only matching the same condition or better. So if I was at very good and there was another seller at good, then I would not match that price. So this allows me to match that good price even though my item's in very good condition because it hasn't sold in the first 14 days. So I come up here, and I want to I'm still going to exclude any acceptable just launched, and I'm still going to exclude all of these things. And I'm going to use the settings I used on the previous one to get this done. Here, I'm going to, again, compete both FBA and non-FBA offers, and I can set this to automatic reprice by clicking one of these, and I'm going to hit save. And again, I'm going to go to the dashboard home. Now, what essentially is happening is I'm creating different schemas so that the price steps down, and any item that is really hot, it's really selling fast, it's going to sell between 1 and 7 days. And then something that maybe is a little slower selling, or maybe there is a lot of offers, then the price steps down a little bit in the 17 to 14 day range. And then again, it steps down in the 14 to 30 day range. So here I am, I'm going to click on create a new template, and this is going to be the last one I'm going to create in this video, but you can create more. I actually have templates going all the way out to 6 months. So here we're going to do 30 to 120 days. Again, I would do FBA only, but I sell everything goes FBA, so it doesn't really matter. But here we'll do 30 days to 120 days. And again, if I want to do any sales rank, I can also do sales rank criteria. So if you want to say all of your really low sales rank items get priced a different way from your high sales rank items, then you can also do that. But this is how I like to do it. Add an update. And here I'm going to put in my final one right here. So on this one, I'm going to make a whole bunch of different changes because an item's been sitting in my inventory for a few weeks. So now I want to actually make some changes so that hopefully I can get some sales, or I can get this item sold at this point. So to get started on this one, I'm going to first uncheck these first two boxes. This allows the program to choose any price on Amazon and price my offer against any price on Amazon whether it's new, whether it's used, it's always going to just price those items together. This is after 30 days. I'm going to remove my exclude acceptable offer. I generally remove my just launched offer, competing offers. I just remove all those filters and I allow the item to be priced against any other items. I'm still going to have my minimum. Make sure you put a minimum on every single time you do this. You want to have the minimum so you never price below that minimum. So I can leave all of these few together, and at this point I can still put in a number here, 50%, if I don't want to drop my price below that price. And here I'm going to do lowest competing price again. So when it comes to pricing against Amazon, I'll put that at 10% and I will check this box. And I'm going to come down here. I'm going to make sure it's on compare FBA items, both to FBA and non-FBA offers. And what I just did with this one was I removed all barriers to my repricing, essentially. So any item listed on Amazon.com can be compared to any item I have in my inventory, and I'm going to reprice that based on just the lowest possible price. So this is kind of my final repricing schema, which essentially is you haven't sold it in 30 days, and you can set this a little later if you want. You can say after 90 days, if I haven't sold this item, I really want to get rid of it. So at this point, I'm just going to price it as low as possible compared to other FBA offers. And I can hit save settings here, and I'll show you the final setting, and that is to avoid long-term storage fees. So this is my 120 plus, and I'm just going to do age of 120. Don't care what the sales rank is, but 120 days. And I'm going to do like new, as always, click that. So once that's saved, I'm going to hit view, edit, repricing again. Now I'm just trying to clear my inventory. So I'm just going to remove all of this, and I'm essentially going to leave it how. What I often do for this final repricing schema is I'm going to put a price of $5.99. Now this $5.99 allows me to go through my inventory, put everything in order from lowest to highest, and then anything with $5.99, I know it's been in my inventory for a long time, and then I start considering getting rid of it or destroying it if it's been there for longer than 120 days and we're coming up on that long-term storage fee month. So I'm going to scroll down towards the bottom. I'm going to do lowest price possible, and here is where I like to do my price adjustments. So I can do a fixed price above or below other competing offers. So if we're really close to the long-term storage fee coming in, then I might actually do 50 cents or $1 less than the lowest price. So here I put in 50 cents. What this is going to do is it's going to make sure if someone else is at $10, I'm going to be at $9.50. Now, I never want to do this early, like whenever I first get a book, but whenever I'm towards the end of the life cycle of the book and I know I'm going to get hit with long-term storage fees of $1 or $2, then it might make sense for me to say, okay, I'm going to drop my price 50 cents lower, and then I'm going to get this item out of my inventory. So it's probably going to be worth that. And again, I'm going to use the same settings here, both FBA, non-FBA, and I can click these two to save it, and I can hit save settings. You guys out there, you guys can choose to put a negative number here. And if I do that, it's actually going to mark my item higher than the next lowest person. So if they're at 10, it goes up to 10.50. So this is just how I like to do my schemas. What you might find is that the first week, you might price $1 or $2 above your competition, see how that goes, and then drop it with more steps than I use. So from here, I can hit save settings. And I can click here to go to reprice it now. I do not have my account set up right now, but you can click reprice it now, and it's actually going to give you what the results are by using reprice it. And then you can adjust your schemas up and down and see what the actual output of this file was. I hope you guys have a better idea of how to use reprice it and other repricers. There's many ways to reprice. So you might start with something like I'm using and then decide to change your mind later. Thank you guys very much. Have a great day and make some money using Oaxray.
Please like and subscribe. And if you have a question about Amazon, put a comment down below and I'll make a video about it as soon as I can.